The suitcase also makes it to the news, but to Chea's surprise, no one mentions the button. Meanwhile, Yunsu remains unfazed by the reports, remarking that he had thought she was smarter than this. He briefly considers releasing incriminating pictures of her, but decides against it, relishing her suffering instead. Gurim, growing increasingly frustrated, yells at Yunsu, accusing him of advertising their existence and demanding that he stop this madness. Yunsu, calm and collected, reassures Gurim that he has not made any mistakes. Suddenly, Yunsu's phone rings. He answers it, but his composed demeanor falters at the voice on the other end. The caller asks, "What are you doing?" Yunsu addresses the man as "father," his expression visibly strained as he speaks. The man accuses Yunsu of engaging in foolishness again, comparing it to the events from 30 years ago. He informs Yunsu that the button from his shirt was found with the body, questioning if Yunsu is attempting to expose their kind to the world. On the other side of the phone is a blond man. He explains that for 1,000 years, their kind has remained hidden due to strict discipline, and he accuses Yunsu of acting recklessly and irrationally. The man pointedly asks if Yunsu is causing trouble on purpose. Yunsu, with a nonchalant tone, responds, "Who knows?" but assures him that he will handle these two cases. The man firmly reminds Yunsu that hunting is prohibited and advises him to embrace a normal life, adding that the incident from 30 years ago was more than enough. Then, with a mocking tone, the man taunts Yunsu, asking if he has forgotten his friend who passed away. Yunsu snaps and angrily tells him to stop, but the man continues, slyly asking, "Did he hear?" implying Gerim might have overheard. For the first time, Yunsu appears genuinely frightened. The man presses further, stating that he knows exactly what Yunsu is hiding. This time, Yunsu pleads with him to stop, and they hang up. As Yunsu reflects on the conversation, he realizes that Han Chea must be behind this chaos, thinking to himself that she is far smarter than he initially believed. Turning to Gurim, Yunsu informs him that hunting is forbidden and instructs him to deal with Chea, all while the tension between them grows as they subtly keep an eye on one another. The narrative then shifts to a flashback from 30 years ago. A man named Sion is seen knocking on Yunsu's door, holding his young son, Gurim, in his arms. Yunsu asks Son what he means by a kid, and whether it refers to the woman they met 10 years ago. Son looks at him with a sorrowful expression but says nothing. Yunsu then notices that Son is wearing his clothes and demands an explanation, but Son remains silent. In the present, Chea goes into hiding, but the manager finds her. She decides to tell him everything. The manager then reveals that he also has a button with the same unique pattern. Chea, surprised, remarks that she couldn't find the brand anywhere and asks how he came to possess one. The manager explains that 30 years ago, when he was a child, he witnessed a horrifying scene. One night, he saw a man draining the blood from his friend's mother as she screamed for help. During the commotion, the man dropped the button. The next day, his friend's entire family disappeared without a trace. Realizing that the buttons are identical, the manager concludes that the man he saw must be Park Yunsu. Nearby, Gurim overhears the conversation and his face fills with shock as he mutters, "Yunsu, and my mother?"